Welcome back to Arsenal News TV, and today we're going to first look at Mikel Arteta making decision on his number one Arsenal target this summer, and then we're going to look at Arsenal plotting swoop for Riyad Mahrez as Man City is to sell him. So the first transfer headline states that Mikel Arteta makes decision on his number one Arsenal transfer target this summer. So the reports are stating that Mikel Arteta is hoping to oversee a near unprecedented overhaul of his Arsenal squad this summer and has already settled on his number one targets. The Spaniard retains the backing of the club's hierarchy despite a hugely underwhelming Premier League campaign which saw the Gunners finish in 8th position and failed to qualify for Europe in the first time in a quarter of a century. An insipid display against Villarreal in the semi-final of the Europa League represented another blot on Mikel Arteta's copybook, particularly given the way in which he was outwitted by his predecessor Unai Emery. Arsenal did, however, finish their domestic campaign with something of a flourish, winning 5 successive games, while the former record signing Nicolas Pepe, who scored 5 times in 4 matches, offered a semblance of encouragement heading into a massive summer for the club. The Gunners have already been linked with a number of different players, but according to The Athletic, Mikel Arteta has identified Martin Odegaard, who spent the second half of last season on loan at Arsenal, as his primary target. Martin Odegaard was effectively deemed surplus to requirements by Zinedine Zidane, but the Frenchman's departure from Real Madrid this week could have a significant bearing on the gifted player maker's future. For his part, Martin Odegaard has regularly stated his contentment at Arsenal, having been afforded the regular first-team football he craved. Mikel Arteta, meanwhile, is said to value the 22-year-old's leadership qualities and has been hugely impressed with Martin Odegaard's attitude over the course of a testing 6 months at the Emirates Stadium. The uncertainty at Real, however, has forced Arsenal to consider alternatives, with Norwich's Emi Buendia firmly on their radar, having made inquiries to sign the Argentine in January. Regardless, Arsenal will need to raise funds before they can make additions to their squad this summer, and it appears as though Granit Xhaka will be the first player to head for the exit door. Now Roma boss Jose Mourinho is keen to sign the Switzerland international, and talks between the two clubs are said to be underway, with Arsenal holding out for a fee in the region of £20 million. So it looks like Mikel Arteta has made a decision on his number one Arsenal transfer target this summer, and that is in the form of Martin Odegaard, someone that has impressed in his loan spell at the Gunners, which is something that is quite peculiar for an Arsenal fan, because other loan spells that had happened, like the likes of Denis Suarez, Dani Ceballos for instance, these players, they came but they really didn't impress as much as Martin Odegaard. I felt a real sense of something when Martin Odegaard come, that creativity, that leadership qualities, that's something I saw in his game. But is Mikel Arteta going to spend that £40 million that Real Madrid are going to ask for? Is even Real Madrid going to sell Martin Odegaard after the fact that Real Madrid's own Zinedine Zidane has left the club? There's going to be a new managerial change. Would the new manager want to keep Martin Odegaard? So you have to wait and see how this transfer pans out. So this nicely takes us on to the second piece of transfer news, which states that Arsenal plot swoop for Riyad Mahrez as Manchester City is to sell him. So the reports are stating that Manchester City are reportedly set to tweak their squad after the Champions League final, and Arsenal have been linked with interest in Riyad Mahrez. Manchester City faced Chelsea and Porto on Saturday, bidding to complete a treble after winning the Premier League title and Carabao Cup this season. Riyad Mahrez has been on top form on City's right flank and has been instrumental in the team's title triumph and run to the Champions League final. But Manchester City are reportedly ready to listen to offers for both players this summer, with boss Pep Guardiola aiming to oversee the evolution of his squad. Both players are out of contract in 2023, but would likely cost in excess of £60 million each, while the North London's club's lack of European football next season would also count against them. In terms of the both players, in the forms of Riyad Mahrez and Raheem Sterling, which we earlier discussed in the previous video, Manchester City have been linked with moves for the likes of Tottenham star Harry Kane, Borussia Dortmund's Erling Haaland and Aston Villa ace Jack Grealish in the summer transfer window. However, to fund moves for those players they may need to sell, with striker Gabriel Jesus and centre-half Aymeric Laporte all said to be vulnerable. Laporte has seen his place in City's defence taken by John Stones this season, although he has performed well when called upon in crucial games, and Jesus faces increased competition for a place in the side from the likes of Foden and Ferran Torres, while Guardiola's preference to play with the false nine has also had an impact on the Brazilian's game time. So it looks like Arsenal plot a swoop for Riyad Mahrez as Manchester City is ready to sell him. So it looks like the Gunners were linked with this Manchester City duo in the form of Raheem Sterling and Riyad Mahrez. I previously discussed about Raheem Sterling in the previous video, but now we're talking about Riyad Mahrez, who has also been linked with the Gunners. This was a player that Mikel Arteta wants to sign, but this is also a player that Arsene Wenger wanted to sign back in the days before he was signed by Leicester City. And just imagine if we signed Riyad Mahrez then. And Riyad Mahrez even admitted that he was very close to joining Arsenal, but then things didn't come out. And another one of Arsene Wenger's very close to being signed players, and they just don't happen in the end. And Mahrez was another example of that Arsene Wenger achieved. And if Riyad Mahrez is going to be signed now, I think for me right now at this moment in time, I would rather take Raheem Sterling than Riyad Mahrez, even though that Riyad Mahrez has been in much better form than Raheem Sterling of this season. When it comes to Riyad Mahrez, he's someone that is in his 30s now. He's a 30-year-old, whereas Raheem Sterling is 26. And with Riyad Mahrez playing in that right winger sort of role, he's pretty much preventing and stunting the growth of our own Nicolas Pepe, and I think Nicolas Pepe has been in decent form, and we see that if we give this guy a run of games continuously, rather than what we did by playing Willian instead of Nicolas Pepe, then it's another misery for Arsenal. But other than that, guys, remain blessed. Stay tuned for the next video, and peace.